manual attitude control is good.
Roger, copy.
Altitude 4200.
Houston, you're go for landing, over.
Roger, understand. Go for landing. 3,000 feet.
Copy.
Alarm. 1201. 1201.
Roger, 1201 alarm. We're go, same type, we're go.
2,000 feet. 2,000 feet. Into the ag, 47 degrees.
Roger.
47 degrees.
Eagle looking great, you're go.
Altitude 1600. 1,400 feet, still looking very good.
Roger, 1202, we copy it.
35 degrees. 35 degrees. 750. Coming down to 23. 700 feet, 21 down. 33 degrees. 100 feet down at 19. 540 feet down at 30. Down at 15. There's 400 feet down at 9. Gate forward. 350 feet down at 4. 30 and a half down. You're pegged on horizontal velocity. 300 feet down, 3.5. 47 forward. Put up. Down 1.5 down. 70. Got the shadow out there. 50 down at 2.5. 19 forward. Altitude, velocity, light. 3.5 down. 220 feet. 13 forward. 11 forward, coming down nicely. 200 feet. 4.5 down. 5.5 down. 160 feet. 6.5 down. 5.5 down. 9 forward. Good. 120 feet. 100 feet. 3.5 down. 9 forward. 5%. 185. Okay, 75 feet. Car's looking good. Down a half. 6 forward.
60 seconds.
Lights on. 6. Down 2.5. Forward. Forward. That's 40 feet down 2.5. Picking up some dust. 30 feet, 2.5 down. Straight shadow. 4 forward. 4 forward. Drift into the right a little. 20. Down a half.
30 seconds.
Forward. Just. Good. Okay. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. ACA at a descent. Mode control both auto. Descent engine command override off. Engine arm off. 413 is in.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger.
And what a tremendous moment that was. And as we approach midnight, with the astronauts in Tranquility Bay halfway through their first meal on the moon, we've just heard that Dr. Berry, the astronauts' doctor, has confirmed that they are in good shape and that he has nothing at all against their going out for that lunar walk early. So he should release the controls that turns on the television. Any minute now we should see pictures. At most, unless he really takes his time, it should be no more than 1.5 to 2 minutes from now.
Neil Armstrong on the porch at 109 hours, 19 minutes, 16 seconds.
point flag, Buzz? No, hold it just a minute. Okay.
25 minutes of PLSS time expended now.
Okay, everything's nice and straight in here. Okay, can you pull the door open a little more? Right? Yeah. Okay. Did you get the mesa out? I'm going to pull it now.
Here it goes. Here goes the mesa with a television camera on it. Now is when we'll see pictures.
Houston, the mesa came down. All right.
Houston, roger. We copy, and we're standing by for your TED.
Aldrin will now turn the television camera on.
This is Neil, radio check.
Neil, this is Houston, loud and clear. Break, break. Buzz, this is Houston. Radio check and verified TV circuit breaker in.
Roger, TV circuit breaker's in. And base path clear.
Roger.
And here's the picture.
And we're getting a picture on the TV.
You got a good picture, huh?
There's a great deal of contrast in it, and currently it's upside down on our monitor, but we can make out a fair amount of detail.
Okay, would you verify the position, the opening I ought to have on the camera?
Stand by.
There is Armstrong. You can see him moving.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
Neil, we can see you coming. Okay, I just checked, getting back up to that first step. That isn't collapsed too far, but it's adequate to get back up.
Roger, we copy.
That's a pretty good little jump.
Buzz, this is Houston. F2, 1/160th second for shadow photography on the sequence camera.
Okay. I'm at the foot of the ladder. The limb footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches, although the surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine.
There he is, putting his foot out. You can see him leaning on it. You can just make out the backpack and the dark circle of the visor in front of it.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. As the surface is fine and powdery, I can kick it up loosely with my toe. It does adhere in fine layers, like powdered charcoal, to the sole and sides of my boot. I only go in a fraction of an inch, maybe an eighth of an inch, but I can see the footprints of my boots and the treads and the fine sandy particles.
Neil, this is Houston. We're copying.
And he's moved off the footpad. It looks as if he's moved off the footpad and coming towards the camera. Beginning those exercises.
There seems to be no difficulty in moving around as we suspected. It's even perhaps easier than the simulations of 16G that we performed in various simulations on the ground. Absolutely no trouble to walk around. The descent engine did not leave a crater of any size. It has about 1 foot clearance on the ground. We're essentially on a very level place here. I can see some evidence of rays emanating from the descent engine, but very insignificant amount. Okay, Buzz, we ready to bring down the camera?
I'm all ready. I think it's 2 miles squared away in good shape.
Okay.
Okay, you'll have to pay out all the LEC. It looks like it's coming out nice and evenly.
Okay, it's quite dark here in the shadow and a little hard for me to see that I have good footing. I'll work my way over into the sunlight here without looking directly into the sun.
Okay, it's taut now.
Unofficial time on the first step, 109.2420.
Okay, I think you're pulling the wrong one.
I'm ready to pull it down now. There was still a little bit left in the...
Okay, don't hold it quite so tight.
Okay?
Okay.
Looking up at the lamb, I'm standing directly in the shadow now, looking up at Buzz in the windows. And I can see everything quite clearly. The light is sufficiently bright, backlighted into the front of the lamb, that everything is very clearly visible.
And there you can just see the camera package coming down now, that whitish blob moving across the...
Okay, I'm going to be changing it.
Okay.
And he has the camera. They're working in the shadow of the lunar module.
The surgeon says that
Camera installed on the RCU bracket.
The cameras installed on
Surgeon
his
says
chest.
the crew is doing well. Data is good, crew is doing well.
I'm still in the LEC on the secondary stretch. I'll step out and take some of my first pictures here.
Roger, Neil, we're reading you loud and clear. Let's see, get some pictures and the contingency sample.
Thirty-five and a half minutes of PLSS time expended now.
35.5 minutes on the oxygen supplied from that backpack you can see on his back. He's now going to pick up the first sample of moon dirt using a scoop telescopically folded up and in his pocket. When he goes to get it after he takes these photographs, he'll be bending forward to reach into his pocket to pull that telescopic scoop out. He's taking pictures of everything round him.
Neil, this is Houston. Did you copy about the contingency sample, over?
All right, you're going to get to that just as soon as I finish these picture series.
Taking pictures in a full circle round him. Just in case. Now he's beginning to reach into that pocket to pull out the scoop. The contingency sample that he'll bring back if something goes wrong in the early part of this walk and they have to leave the moon.
Okay, gonna get the contingency sample there, Neil?
Houston worried that he might
Okay, that's good.
might take too long to get it. And there in picture now the lunar module ladder. And going into the ladder from the left down to the ladder is one of the struts supporting the leg.
Okay, the contingency sample is down and it's up sample. Like it's a little difficult to dig through the initial crust.
Very interesting. It's a very soft surface, but here and there where I plug with the contingency sample collector, I run into very hard surface, but it appears to be very cohesive material of the same sort. I'll try to get a rock in here. Just a couple.
Everything you've said, Patrick Moore, about the surface seems to be correct.
So far, but certainly
Oh, that
it
looks beautiful from there, Neil.
It has a stark beauty all its own. It's like much of the high desert of the United States. It's different, but it's very pretty out here. Be advised that a lot of the rock samples out here, the hard rock samples, have what appear to be vesicles in the surface. Also, I'm looking at one now that appears to have some
Houston, roger out. Okay, the handle is off the, push it in about, 6 to 8 inches into the surface. Like it's pretty easy to arm.
It is. It's, I'm sure I could push it in farther, but it's hard for me to bend down farther than that.
Now you can throw so
You
far.
can really throw things a long way up here. My pocket open, Buzz?
Yes, it is. It's not up against your suit, though. Hit it back once more. More toward the inside. Okay, that's good.
That's the pocket he's going to put the sample into. Down on the thigh of his left leg.
Yeah, push down. Got it? No, it's not all the way in. Push it. There you go.
Contingency sample is in the pocket. My oxygen is 81%. I have no flags, and I'm in minimum flow.
This is Houston, Roger Neil. Okay, I got the camera going at 1 frame a second. Okay. And I've got 80%, no flags. Good.
Are you getting a TV picture now, Houston?
Neil, yes, we are getting a TV picture. Neil, this is Houston. We're getting a picture. You're not in at the present time. We can see the bag on the LEC being moved by Buzz, though. Here you come into our field of view.
Oh, Buzz, let me move that over the edge for you.
Okay, ready for me to come out?
Yeah, just stand by a second. I'll move this over the handrail. Okay.
All right, that's got it. Are you ready?
All set. Okay, you saw what difficulties I was having. I'll try to watch your bliss from underneath here.
Armstrong's going to try and guide Aldrin out as he comes backwards through the hatch.
All right, the backup camera is position.
Okay, your bliss looks like it's clearing okay. But those are about to come over the sill. Okay, now drop your bliss down. There you go, you're clear. And laterally you're good. Got an inch clearance on top of your bliss.
Okay, you need a little bit of arching of the back to come down. How far are my feet from the
Okay, you're right at the edge of the porch.
Okay. back in from a small little foot movement. Porch. Arching of the back. Helmet comes up and clears the bulkhead without any trouble at all. Looks good.
Minutes PLSS time expended.
Neil, this is Houston. Based on your camera transfer with the LEC, do you foresee any difficulties in SRC transfer over?
Negative.
That's the sample return containers, the rock boxes that Capcom.
Now I want to back up and partially close the hatch. Making sure not to lock it on my way out. Particularly good thought. That's our home for the next couple hours. We want to take good care of it. Okay, I'm on the top step and I can look down over the RCU and landing gear pad. It's a very simple matter to hop down from one step to the next. Yes, I found it to be very comfortable, and walking is also very comfortable.
There's Aldrin.
But you've got 3 more steps and then a long one.
Okay, I'm going to leave that 1 foot up there and both hands down to about the 4th rung up. There you go.
He dropped.
Okay, now I think I'll do the same. A little more. About another inch. There, you got it? That's a good step. Yep. About a 3-footer.
3-foot jump.
Beautiful view.
Isn't that something? Magnificent sight out here.
Magnificent desolation.
Both PLSS is nominal on consumables.
Looks like the secondary strut. Have little thermal effects on it right here, Neil.
Yeah, I noticed that. Seems to be the worst, although similar effects are on all around.
There is very, very fine powder, isn't it?
Isn't it fine?
Right in this area, I don't think there's much of any fine powder. Some clods together, and it's hard to tell whether it's a clod or a rock.
Notice how you can pick it out.
Down, it bounces and then
Armstrong in the background, jumping up and down.
reaching down. Fairly easy. Get my suit dirty at this stage. The mass of the backpack does have some effect in inertia. I can see now through backwards due to the soft, very soft texture.
You're standing on a rock, big rock there now.
This patch here didn't.
No, it didn't.
Absolute no crater there at all from the engine.
No.
I wonder if that right under the engine is where a probe might have hit. I'd like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good representation of our sideward velocity of touchdown. That folded the probe.
I'll see that probe over on the minus Y strut. Broken off and bent back up.
That did, didn't it? The other two boats bent over.
Can't say too much for the visibility right here without the visor up. Pretty dark. It looks like there's a surface of a flat bounded rock. And incidentally, these rocks, very powdery surface.
Say again, please, Buzz. You're cutting out. And
I say that the rocks are rather.
Neil Armstrong getting ready to move the TV camera now out to its panorama position.
Traction seems quite good. 6 per area. I start to lose my balance in one direction, and recovery is quite natural and very easy. And moving arms around, Jack doesn't go up the surface. Not quite that light-footed.
I have the insulation off the mesa now. The mesa seems to be in good shape.
You have to be careful that you're leaning in the direction you want to go, otherwise you slightly inebriate the. Otherwise you have to cross your foot over to stay underneath where your center of mass is. Hey Neil, didn't I say we might see some purple rocks?
Find the purple rocks?
Yep. Very small, sparkly fragments are rock. They're reflected sun in places. I would make a first guess at some sort of biotite. We'll leave that to the further analysis. But soil compacts underneath. Completely. No. Said you don't sink down more than a quarter of an inch.
Biotite is a brown mica substance.
Okay, Houston, I'm going to change lenses on you.
Roger, Neil.
There, a moment while Neil Armstrong changes the lens on the television camera to a wide-angle lens that
Life support consumables still looking good.
when he takes it out to its distant position, we'll get a wide view of everything that's going on. That's what's happening now. He's changing the lens.
Okay, Houston, tell me if get a new picture.
Neil, this is Houston. That's affirmative. We're getting a new picture. You can tell it's a longer focal length lens. And for your information, all LEM systems are go. Over. For your information, all LEM. I appreciate that. Thank you. Neil is now unveiling the plaque that is. Roger, we've got you foresighted, but back to one side. Foresighted.
For those who haven't read the plaque, we'll read the plaque that's on the front landing gear of this LEM. There's two hemispheres, one showing each of the two hemispheres of Earth. Underneath it says, "Dear men from the planet Earth, first set foot upon the moon, July 1969 AD. It came in peace for all mankind." It has the crew members' signatures and the signature of the President of the United States. Ready for the camera? Pocket it.
Now you're taking TV on now.
Touch the LEC there.
I'm afraid these hard materials are going to get dusty. The surface material powdery. I don't know how good your lens is, but if you can smudges above.
You see the smudges on the end of his fingers there.
Very much like a very finely powdered carbon, but pretty looking.
You pull out some of my cable for me, please.
This is the television camera cable being pulled out.
Houston, how close are you able to get things in focus? This is Houston. We can see Buzz's right hand. It's somewhat out of focus.
The camera's moving.
I'd say we were focusing down to probably about 8 inches to a foot behind the position of his hand when he was pulling out the cable.
Armstrong now must have the camera in his hand.
Okay, how's the temperature looking there?
Temperature of the camera is showing cold.
I'm a little cool. I think I'll change. Oh.
It looks as if we're looking down. The camera's maybe pointing down. That looked like a view of his feet walking
I'm on
along.
intermediate now, Houston, and I show 3.78. No flags, 74. Houston, roger out. And we'll probably need a little
first view of the lunar surface as he carries the camera out to about 30 feet away from the lunar module. The next time they come into
Neil,
vision...
Look at the minus Y strut. The direction of travel there. Traveling from right to left. Right. So this one over here underneath the SN where the probe first hit. Minus my probe first hit.
Aldrin examining the lunar module.
I got plenty of cable.
You got plenty more. Okay, I think I got the end of it.
Something interesting in the bottom of this little crater here. Maybe.
Keep going. We got a lot more.
Okay.
Getting a little harder to pull out here.
President Nixon is due to speak to the astronauts directly in about 2 minutes.
If you stand on the ladder facing forward, the minus Y strut is the landing gear to your left.
Say I am, Buzz.
40, 50 feet. Why don't you turn around and let them get a view from there and see what the field of view looks like. You're backing into the cable.
There it is. The lunar module.
Turn around to your right, be better.
I don't want to go into the sun if I can avoid it.
That's right, Jim.
I'll just leave it.
All right, let it
Sit
settle
like
out.
that and walk around it.
Houston, how's that field of view going to be? Pick up the mesa far away? Right.
Neil, this is Houston. The field of view is okay. We'd like you to aim it a little bit more to the right, over.
Okay. Okay, that's all the cable we have. All the way out. I'll start working on the shoulder.
A little bit too much to the right. Can you bring it back left about 4 or 5 degrees?
Aldrin there by the lunar module about to bring out the solar wind experiment.
Okay, that looks good, Neil.
Hey, that looks good, Neil.
Okay, now, think ought to be farther away or closer?
Can't get too much further away.
Let's try it like that for a while. I'll get a couple panoramas with it here. Roger, you look okay as far as distance goes, Neil, and we'll line you up again when you finish the panorama. You're going too fast on the panorama sweep. You're going to have to stop for... I haven't stopped. I haven't set it down yet. That's the first picture in the panorama. Right there. Roger.
The Sea of Tranquility.
It's taken just about northeast. Tell me if you got a picture, Houston. Well, we've got a beautiful picture, Neil. Okay, I'm going to move it. Okay, there's another good one.
Fantastic.
There's another.
The blackness of the sky.
Okay, we got that one. Okay, now this one's right down sun, straight west. And I want to know if you can see an angular rock in the foreground. Roger, we have a large angular rock in the foreground, and it looks like a much smaller rock a couple of inches to the left of it, over. Right, and on beyond it about 10 feet is an even larger rock that's very rounded. That rock is about, the closest one to you is about sticking out of the the sand about 1 foot. It's about 1.5 feet long, and it's about 6 inches thick, but it's standing on edge.
Roger. Okay, Neil, I've got the table out. Got a bag deployed.
We got this view, Neil.
Straight south.
Roger, and we see the shadow of the limb.
And the hill, Roger, the little hill just beyond the shadow of the limb is a pair of elongate craters. About probably the pair together is 40 feet long and 20 feet across, and they're probably 6 feet deep. We'll probably get some more work in there later.
Roger, and we see Buzz going about his work.
How's that for a final?
For a final orientation, we'd like it to come left about 5 degrees over. Back to the right about half as much.
Okay.
Okay, that looks good there, Neil.
Yeah, it looks good. Okay.
One hour, 7 minutes time expended.
The flight plan says 2 hours and 40 minutes. I would guess they'll try to stay a little bit longer.
Okay, you can make a mark, Houston.
Roger, slow in.
And incidentally, you can use the shadow that the staff makes to assist you in getting it perpendicular.
Buzz is erecting the solar wind experiment now.
They're about 30 minutes behind schedule.
Some of these small depressions get soft, and you tend to think, oh, maybe 2 or 3 inches. I can suggest exactly what the layer pictures showed when they pushed away a little bit. You can force transmitted through the upper surface of the soil in about 5 or 6 inches of bay. It breaks loose and moves as if it were caked on the surface when in fact it really isn't.
I noticed in the soft spots where we have footprints nearly an inch deep that the soil is very cohesive, and it will retain a slope of probably 70 degrees on the side of the footprint.
Just this side of the leg on the left, the solar wind experiment, and just to the right of the lunar module, what looks like the staff of the flag already erected. Now both men carrying out the inspection of the lunar module.
All limb systems still looking good.
And we've just heard that all over the world there are 33 countries who have stayed up to take these pictures live. Two men now standing down in the shadow of the lunar module to the right.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's next. Dead end, come on. All right, get the camera. Take that part. Go out, Herman. Head up to the rocker. Okay, you'll have to extend that one.
It looks as if they're getting out the tongs to begin this sample collection.
Columbia, this is Houston, AOS, over.
Houston, AOS, over.
And here comes Mike Collins, 70 miles up, round from behind the moon, in the command module.
Neil Armstrong's been on the lunar surface now almost 45 minutes.
Next time, I don't have camera. Houston, Columbia on the high gain, over.
Columbia, this is Houston, reading you loud and clear, over.
Yeah, this is Houston reading. Yeah, read you loud and clear. How's it going?
Roger, the EVA is progressing beautifully. I believe they're setting up the flag now.
Great.
I guess you're about the only person around that doesn't have TV coverage of the scene.
That's all right. I don't mind a bit. How is the quality of the TV?
Oh, it's beautiful, Mike. It really is.
Oh, geez, that's great. Is the lighting halfway decent?
Yes, indeed. They've got the flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the lunar
Flag
surface.
up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the lunar surface. Beautiful, just beautiful.
Taking photographs.
That's the... See if you can pull that end off a little bit. Tighten that end up a little. It won't go out. Okay.
It looks as if they're having difficulty in getting the staff of the flag into the ground. And they've done it. It does look as if one of them is photographing the other by the flag.
Neil, this is Houston, radio check, over.
Hi, Roger. Houston, loud and clear.
Roger out.
Loud and clear, Houston.
Roger, Buzz.
I'd like to evaluate the various paces that a person can traveling on the surface. I believe I'm out of your field of view. Is that right now, Houston?
That's affirmative, Buzz. You're in our field of view now.
You do have to be. All right, you do have to be rather careful to keep track of where your center of mass is. Sometimes it takes about 2 or 3 paces to make sure that you've got your feet underneath you. And about 2 or 3 or maybe 4 easy paces can bring you to a fairly smooth stop. Direction. Like a football player, you just have to put out to the side, cut a little bit. So-called kangaroo hop does work, but it seems your forward stability is not quite as good as it is in the conventional, more conventional one foot after another. As far as saying what a sustained pace might be, I think the one that I'm using now would get rather tiring after several hundred.
This is Aldrin running around.
But this may be a function of the suit as well as lack of gravity force here.
Tranquility Base, this is Houston. Can we get both of you on the camera for a minute, please?
It sounds as if President Nixon wants to talk to them now.
Say again, Houston.
Roger, we'd like to get both of you on the field of view of the camera for a minute. Neil and Buzz, the President of the United States is in his office now and would like to say a few words to you, over.
be an honor.
Go ahead, Mr. President. This is Houston out.
Hello, Neil and Buzz. I'm talking to you by telephone from the Oval Room at the White House. And this certainly has to be the most historic telephone call ever made. I just can't tell you how proud we all are of what you... For every American, this has to be the proudest day of our lives. And for people all over the world, I am sure they too join with the in recognizing what an immense feat this is. Because of what you have done, the heavens have become a part of man's world. And as you talk to us from the sea of tranquility, it inspires us to redouble our efforts to bring peace and tranquility to earth. For one priceless moment in the whole history of man, all the people on this earth are truly one. One in their pride in what you have done, and one in our prayers that you will return safely to earth.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor and privilege for us to be here representing not only the United States, but men of peace of all nations, and with interest and a curiosity and with a vision for the future. Honor for us to be able to participate here today.
And thank you very much, and I look forward, all of us look forward to seeing you on the Hornet on Thursday.
Look forward to that very much, sir.
Columbia, this is Houston, over.
Loud and clear, Houston.
Roger, I've got a P-22 auto optics pad for you.
Hour 22 gone. 1 hour and 22 minutes, and the lunar
Roger,
surface gone.
P-22, landmark ID, LEM, T1, 110-2656.
And as Houston talks to Mike
T2,
Collins, 70 miles above in the command module,
32,
on the lunar surface they're about 1 hour and 23 minutes
3
out.
miles south.
They still have not collected the
Time of
bulk
closest
sample of
approach,
rocks. They haven't finished their photography of the lunar module itself,
40,
and they haven't begun to carry out the experiments.
353.855.
At this moment, then, they're approximately 30 minutes behind time.
Decimal 495. Roll 0. Pitch 250. Yaw 0. Over.
Roger, thank you. Read back that required.
Roger out.
Houston, it's very interesting to note that when I kick my foot at the rail with no atmosphere here and this gravity, they seem to leave, and most of them have about the same angle of departure and velocity. As where I stand, the large portion of them will impact at a certain distance out. There are several percentage, of course, that will impact different regions out, but it's highly dependent upon inside the shadow area. Visibility, as we've said before, is not too great, but both visors up. We can certainly get what sort of footprints we have and the minimal condition of the soil. Then after being out in the sunlight a while, it takes... watch it, Neil. Neil, you're on the cable. Okay. Yeah, lift up your right foot. Right foot. It's still, your toe is still hooked in it. That one? Yeah, it's still hooked in it. A minute. Okay, you're clear now. Thank you.
Armstrong looks as if he's carrying one of the tongs that
Now,
will begin
let's
picking
move
up the
that
rocks.
over this thing.
Neil Armstrong has the scoop for the bulk sample collection.
Picking up that bulk sample now, just about 32 or 33 minutes late. Picking up large scoopfuls in that metal scoop of the surface soil and rocks. Armstrong there on the left.
The boot color of my boots have completely disappeared now into this. Still don't know exactly what color to describe this other than grayish cocoa color. Seems to be covering most of the wider part of the boot. Color that had very fine particles.
Buzz, this is Houston. You're cutting out on the end of your transmission. Can you speak a little more closely into your microphone, over?
Roger, I'll try that.
Beautiful.
Well, I had that one inside my mouth that time.
Sounded a little wet.
A little wet.
Neil's been on the surface an hour now. Buzz, not quite 20 minutes less than that.
In general, time spent in the shadow doesn't seem to have any thermal effects. We still inside the suit. There is a difference, of course, in the coming radiation and helmet, so I think there's a tendency to feel a little cooler in the shadow than we feel out in the sun.
Columbia, this is Houston, over. Columbia, this is Houston, over.
One hour and a half expended on the PLSSs now.
Columbia, this is Houston, over. Columbia, this is Houston, over.
Houston, Columbia, Delta.
Roger, you should have VHF AOS with the LEM right about now. VHF LOS will be at 40 minutes, 15 seconds, over.
Thank you.
heart rates on both crewmen averaging between 90 and 100. Flight surgeon reports they're right on the predicted number of the BTU units expended in energy of work. And he thinks they're in great shape.
When I look around the area, the contrast in general is comes about completely by virtue of the shadows. Almost deep. Looking down some.
There is the clock telling you that they have been on their oxygen of their backpacks for 1 hour, 32 minutes, 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 2 seconds now. They should be on the lunar surface on those backpacks and back in again by 2 hours and 40 minutes, but at this moment they're running about 30 minutes behind time. And my guess is they'll stay out there as long as they're allowed to, possibly up to just over 3 hours.
Surrounding color is still fairly light. As you look down into the sun.
Therefore, those of you who've just tuned in, one of the astronauts walking on the surface of the moon.
General color of the cross on contrast is not as great. Surveying all the dusty area that we've picked up, considerably darker in texture now. I've picked up once. I imagine that this has been out by certain impacts that's what this makes surveyor. The same is true if I survey cross sun along the area that we're walking. General, is to the fact that there are footprints there, general terrain where I've been up out of this surface material is generally of a darker contrast, having color.
Going out there with the scoop to collect more bulk samples of the soil, the surface soil, scooping it up with that metal scoop. He then takes it back to the bag, which should be hanging on the lunar module, almost in the center of it as you look at it now, hanging off one of those cross struts. A plastic bag into which he puts the sample. And they're back in to dump the sample he's collected.
You can see Neil Armstrong bringing scoop.
The ram I'll be taking is about 30 to 40 feet out to plus. But, great.
Say again which strut, please, Buzz.
So it seems
Say again which strut, which...
the plus V strut.
Roger.
Right in this area, there are two craters. The one that's right in front of me now, as I look off in about the 11 o'clock position from the spacecraft, about 30 to 35 feet across. And several rocks to boulders, 6, 8 inches across, different sizes.
The voice of Buzz Aldrin, who is not in the picture at the moment.
Neil is filling the bulk sample bag attached to a scale. You can see him in the picture. Buzz is behind the lamb at the minus Z strut.
That's round behind the lunar module, that's why we can't see him.
That's the landing gear directly opposite the ladder.
if you look carefully just below the flag, to the other side of the lunar module, in that patch you can see just the other side to the right of the lunar module, inside the strut, I think you can just see Aldrin's shadow moving. Both astronauts busy now working, possibly trying to catch up the 25 or 30 minutes they were behind schedule.
Neil's been on the surface about an hour and 10 minutes now.
And there is
Around the area of the
Aldrin on the right.
minus Y strut. Taking some second photograph.
Buzz is making his way around the LAM, photographing it from various angles, looking at its condition on all sides. Neil's still occupied with the bulk sample.
Armstrong, you can just see in the shadow there, this side of the lunar module, weighing the samples of soil that he's bringing back and putting into that plastic bag.
One hour, 40 minutes time expended on the PLSSs now.
PLSS, Portable Life Support System, the backpack. You can see there on their backs.
How's the bulk sample coming, Neil?
Bulk sample is just being sealed.
That makes them exactly 31 minutes behind schedule.
Columbia, this is Houston. Go ahead, over.
Call that from Mike Collins. 70 miles up in the command
Roger,
module.
no marks on the left that time. I did see a suspiciously small white object whose coordinates are.
Go ahead with the coordinates on the small white object.
Easy 0.37.6, but I'm sure that it's him, and it's right on the southwest rim of a crater. I think they would know it if they were in such a location. It looks like their lamp would be pitched up quite a degree. It's on the southwest wall of a smallish crater.
Roger, copy Echo decimal 3 and 7 decimal 6. And Columbia, this is Houston. While I'm talking to you, LOS will be at 111, 1931. AOS 1120543. Over. Columbia, this is Houston. Did you copy LOS, AOS times? Over. Copy. AOS. Negative, Houston. You're broken. Disregard. I might get them off the flight plan. Roger. Out.
And there on our clock, 1 hour, 43 minutes and 45 seconds since they went on to their oxygen supplies from their backpacks. That was before they came out of the spacecraft. The total time they're supposed to be on that special supply before they are reconnected back in the lunar module is only 2 hours and 40 minutes. And at this point, they're running somewhere between 25 and 30 minutes behind schedule. So sometime soon, either the situation will become critical where they have to begin to hurry with their work, or they'll be given an extension of time. They can't be given too much extension because the oxygen will only last them 4 hours total.
Now on quad 4.
You're breaking up again, Buzz. Breaking up again, Buzz.
I say the jet deflector that's mounted on quad 4 seems to be, the surface of it seems to be more wrinkled than the one that's on quad 1. Generally, underneath part of the LEM seems to have stood up quite well to the, look at some pictures in the aft part of the LEM that illuminate the thermal effects much better than we could get them up here in the front.
Roger, out.
I want to get some particular photographs of the bulk sample area, Neil.
Okay.
And Houston, Buzz here, I'm showing 3.78 SI. 3%, no flags. Adequate. Light warming fingers.
Roger, and Neil has 66%. O2, no flags. Minimum cooling, and the suit pressure is 382. Houston, roger up.
66% of his oxygen left in Neil Armstrong's backpack. At 1 hour, 46 minutes and 40 seconds on that backpack, breathing that oxygen.
Neil has finished collecting and packing the bulk sample.
Buzz, this is Houston. Have you removed the close-up camera from the Mesa yet? Over.
Negative, thank you. Get a panorama there. Okay.
Aldrin about to take a panoramic photograph.
looks like you're about a half hour slow on it. We're working on consumables, over.
All right.
Neil and Buzz, this is Houston. To clarify my last, your consumables are in good shape at this time. The 30-minute reference was with respect to the nominal timeline, over.
Roger, I understand that.
Neil's been on the surface now slightly over an hour and 20 minutes.
Hey, don't note any abnormalities in the limb. Quads seem to be in good shape. The primary and secondary struts are in good shape. Antennas are all in place. There's no evidence of problem underneath the limb due to either the engine exhaust or drainage of any kind.
Roger up. It's very surprising, very surprising lack of penetration of all four of the foot pads. I'd say if we were to try and determine just how far below the surface they would have penetrated, you'd measure in 2 or 3 inches, wouldn't you say, Neil?
At the most, yeah. That fly strut there is probably even less than that.
All right, great job. I get a picture of the bus Y strut taken from near the descent stage, and I think we'll be able to see a little bit better what the ripple effects are. Seem to be quite minimal. One picture taken at the right rear of the spacecraft, looking at the skirts of the descent stage. lightening of the surface color, a rather minimal amount of radiating or etching away or erosion of the surface. And now on descent, both of us remarked that we could see a large amount of very fine dust particles moving out. It was reported beforehand that we would probably see an outgassing from the surface after actual engine shutdown, but I recall I was unable to verify that. Just too big an angle, Neil. Yep. I think you're right.
Now 5 minutes to go to the halfway mark on their oxygen supplies. 5 more minutes from now, they'll be halfway through the oxygen supplied by those backpacks they're wearing. Still running something between 25 and 30 minutes behind schedule. Both astronauts out of the picture.
Back at the minus Z spot now.
Inspecting.
Stereo pair we're taking to the bed will take very little force of impact that we actually had.
That force of impact was about 2.5 miles an hour as they hit the surface.
Columbia, this is Houston.
I noticed that.
Columbia, this is Houston. Go ahead, bud.
Okay. Can I get some close-up pictures of that, Ron? I was saying that Houston stop and take a photograph of something and then want to start moving again sideways. Quite a tendency to start doing it with just gradual sideways hops as you start getting momentum.
Roger.
Can you see us underneath the phlegm over at the SEQ bay, Houston?
Yes, indeed, Buzz. We can see your feet sticking out underneath the structure of the LEM descent stage.
Okay, I'm just on the other side of the...
now we can see you through the structure of the minus Z secondary strut.
The astronauts continuing their inspection of the lunar module from all sides.
The SEQ bay contains the scientific experiments to be left on the surface of the moon. The laser reflector.
They're open, and it looks like they're going to stay up without any problem.
They've opened that bay with those instruments in it.
Columbia, Columbia, this is Houston. We're about to lose you on the Omnis. Request high gain antenna, react mode, pitch 20, yaw 135, over.
I'm going to pick an area, Neil.
Make that yaw 175, Columbia, yaw 175 on the high gain.
Corey's locked up on the high gain, Houston.
Roger out.
They're now beginning to remove the two principal experiments that they've taken to the moon, a laser reflector and a device
says everything looks fine.
A device for measuring moonquakes.
An hour and a half of lunar surface time for Neil Armstrong.
And at 2 hours and a couple of 3 seconds on their oxygen supply from their backpacks, they are now just past the halfway mark in their oxygen supply. And let me remind you that that leaves us here in Britain with just a few seconds to go to 5:30.
They've been on the portable life support systems for 2 hours now.
And the manual deployment of the LR cubed little spring that's at the end of the string pulled off of the pit fin. Now, however, I was able to reach up and get hold of the pit fin and pull it loose. So it'll be deployed manually also.
Roger. And the panorama is complete, and put the limb 730 position at about 60 feet.
That's Neil Armstrong to the left of the screen. By that.
Doors are closed and locked.
Roger.
Have you got us a good area picked out?
Well, I think right out on that rise out there is probably as good as any.
And at 5:30, for those of you who may just have tuned in, you're watching man's first outside broadcast from the surface of the moon.
Stay on the high ground
Live
there,
television pictures of the lunar module as it sits in the Sea of Tranquility, with the two astronauts now standing on the other side of the lunar module, pulling out the two experiments that they're going to leave on the surface of the moon when they come back to Earth. They've been on their oxygen supply now for 2 hours, 2 minutes and 46 seconds. That's just over half the supply of oxygen gone. They're running about 30 minutes behind schedule.
You on the right carrying the two experiments.
There goes
40 feet out. I'd say out to the end of that next...
Well, it's going to be a little difficult to find a good level spot here.
There goes Buzz Aldrin just disappearing out of the picture on the right, carrying the two experiments.
Wouldn't that be a pretty good place?
Followed now there
Yeah, but I put the LR cube right about here.
All right.
You can just see Armstrong.
I'm going to have to get on the other side of this rock here.
Aldrin's voice, he's putting down the laser experiment.
I would go right around that crater to the left there. Isn't that a level spot there?
So I think this right here is just as level.
Okay.
Aldrin out of the picture to the right now, being watched and approached by Armstrong, who's just going out of the picture now.
And they will be out of the camera's field of view while setting up these experiments.
They're about 50 feet out from the lunar module. These two experiments they're putting down, the laser reflector.
The boulders look like basalt, and they have probably 2% white minerals in them, white crystals. And the thing that I reported as vesicular before, I don't believe I believe that anymore. I think it's small craters. They look like little impact craters where baby shot has hit the surface.
Hi, Houston. I have the seismic experiment flipped over now, and I'm aligning it with the sun. I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting the beef go in the center. Wants to move around and around on the outside. Doesn't find any spot, any home.
You're cutting out again, Buzz.
Finishing placing the two experiments.
I say I'm not having too much success in leveling the PSE experiment.
That's the moonquake detector he's talking about. Out of the picture on the right, both astronauts now tending to putting these two experiments down on the ground. One to reflect a laser beam back from Earth, the other to measure moonquakes. That moonquake detector will work for about 2 years after they return to Earth.
The laser reflector is installed and the bubbles level, and the alignment appears to be good.
Neil, this is Houston. Roger, out.
The laser reflector is now in place.
Hey, you want to take a look at this BB, see what you make out of it?
I found it pretty hard to get perfectly level too.
That BB likes the outside. It won't go on the inside.
That little cup is convex now instead of concave.
I think you're right.
I believe it is.
Houston, I don't think there's any hope of using this leveling device to come up with an accurate level. It looks to me as though the cup here that the BB is in is now convex instead of concave, over.
Roger, 11. Press on. If you think it looks level by eyeball, go ahead.
Okay.
Houston telling them to get ahead, presumably because they are so far behind schedule. Houston obviously doesn't want them to get into any kind of marginal
The
situation with
bubble they're
oxygen.
discussing is on a leveling device on the passive seismometer.
That's the moonquake device, passive seismometer.
One going, huh?
The two astronauts should be returning into the picture
There you
fairly
go.
soon, once they've settled these experiments.
Good work. Good show. Hey, whoa, stop. Back up. Wait.
Houston, as I was facing the PSC, the right-hand solar array deployed automatically. The left hand, I had to manually spinning bar at the far end. And all parts of the solar array are clear of the ground now.
Buzz, this is Houston. Understand you did successfully deploy both solar arrays, over.
Roger, affirmative.
The solar arrays are the solar panels on that experiment that pick up power from the sun's rays.
And there isn't any way of telling whether that's lined up. Not getting in the way. Maybe I could get down here. Well, that appears to be plenty.
Neil, this is Houston, over.
Hey, go ahead, Houston.
Roger, we've been looking at your consumables, and you're in good shape. Subject to your concurrence, we'd like to extend the duration of the EVA 15 minutes from nominal. We will still give Buzz a hack at 10 minutes prior for heading in. Your current elapsed time is 2 plus 12, over.
Okay, that sounds fine.
Roger, out.
As I thought, they've been given an extension, because they're a little bit behind time, of another 15 minutes. That will take their total time on their oxygen.
212 is the time expended on the PLSS.
This is Houston. If you're still in the vicinity of the PSC, could you get a photograph of the ball level, over?
That'll take them up to 2 hours and
I'll do that,
55 minutes.
Right, we'll get a photograph of that.
At the moment, as you see, they're 2 hours.
Houston, what time would you estimate we could allow for the documented sample, over?
Reorganizing the program now to fit in with this new change in time. 15 extra minutes on the surface.
Oh, shoot. I believe the ball is right in the middle now.
Wonderful. Take a picture before it moves.
They've managed to get one of the experiments absolutely level.
Neil, this is Houston. We're estimating about 10 minutes for the document sampling, over. Columbia, this is Houston, over.
Columbia, this is Houston, over.
Go ahead, Houston, Columbia.
Roger, I'd like you to terminate charging battery Bravo at 111, plug 15, over.
How about right now?
Roger.
Just under 40 minutes left until the time when Houston would like them to be back in the lunar module.
Buzz, this is Houston. You've got about 10 minutes left now prior to commencing your EVA termination activities, over.
Termination activities, over.
Roger, I understand.
Those activities are done first by Aldrin and then, following him, Armstrong. And they include wiping their suits and feet and climbing back up into the lunar module. So they're going to have to hurry to pick up the rocks for which most of this mission was meant. The documented rock samples are perhaps the most important thing that they have to bring back.
Tranquility Base, this is Houston. The passive seismic experiment has been uncaged, and we're observing short period oscillations in it, over.
The moonquake apparently beginning to give results already, immediately. Detecting minor oscillations in the moon's surface.
Neil Armstrong has been on the surface now about an hour and 50 minutes.
Both astronauts still out of picture to the right. And here comes one in from the left. And there's one who was hiding. I'm afraid I didn't see either of them there. And there's Neil Armstrong retrieving the solar wind sample, the thing that looks like a tinfoil flag set to pick up particles of solar wind that sweep through space out from the sun, to bring that back in. And it looks as if at the same time he's using the hollow staff to bang it down with a hammer into the subsoil and bring up what's called the core sample, hitting it again and again with a hammer.
In the foreground, Buzz Aldrin is collecting a core tube sample.
I hope you're watching how hard I have to hit this into the ground to the tune of about 5 inches, Houston.
Roger.
The hollow core of that tube is now filled with subsoil.
It almost looks wet.
Got it. Sample.
Wait a minute. Cable? Yeah, cut the cable again.
Neil, Buzz, this is Houston. We'd like you to hear right.
Turn to your right.
They're caught up in the television camera cable
Not quite.
again.
Neil, this is Houston. We'd like you all to get 2 core tubes and the solar wind experiment. 2 core tubes and the solar wind, over.
Houston hurrying them along there.
Roger.
The solar wind experiment still standing there just to the right of the leftmost leg of the lunar module, like the tall, thin grey shape you can just see there. And they still...
Core tubes provide material.
Get the next one. Maybe you can turn away the box a little bit.
They still haven't begun to collect the rocks.
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
Two hours, 21.5 minutes gone on the oxygen from their backpacks. Maximum time of that oxygen, 4 hours.
Buzz, this is Houston. You have approximately 3 minutes until you must commence your EVA termination activities, over.
Roger, understand.
They still haven't collected the rocks, and they have 3 minutes to...
Columbia, this is Houston. Approximately 1 minute to LOS, over.
1 minute. Columbia, Roger.
Houston really hurrying them
You
along.
plan on commencing your sleep on the backside this pass? If so, we'll disable uplink to you while we're talking to the LEM, over.
Negative that. Houston, were you able to record in a documentary way where the 2 core tube samples were taken?
Negative.
Now, I didn't get a stereo pair of those, sir, but they're right in the vicinity of the solar wind.
Neil, this is Houston. After you've got the core tubes and the solar wind. Anything else that you can throw into the box would be acceptable.
I'm assuming they haven't had a documented sample collection of rocks because they haven't talked about them as they picked them up. That was the plan. As they picked up each rock from the rock collection, they would describe it, photograph it, and then put it in a separate bag. And they don't seem to have done that yet.
I got the cap.
Got the cap?
They're both good caps on around.
Okay.
And you want to pick up some stuff and I'll
Get these aseptic ones.
throw the solar wind in.
Really hurrying now.
Buzz Aldrin retrieving the solar wind experiment.
Armstrong out to pick up what he can. And they're really hurrying.
Buzz, this is Houston. It's about time for you to start your EVA closeout activities.
Roger.
They've been on their life support system. On their life support systems, 2 hours and 25 minutes. Neil appears to be picking up rocks to the right of the screen.
I wonder with the way things have gone and their obvious fitness if there is a minimal chance that Houston will let them go out again.
Neil and Buzz, this is Houston. I'd like to remind you of the close-up camera magazine before you start up the ladder, Buzz.
Okay. Got that over with you, Neil?
Now that close-up camera's underneath the mesa, I'll have to pick it up with the thong. I'm picking up several pieces of really vesicular rock out here now.
You didn't get anything in those environmental samples, did you?
Not yet.
No, I don't think we'll have time.
Roger, Neil and Buzz. Let's press on with getting the close-up camera magazine and closing out of the sample return container. You're running a little low on time.
Roger.
We want to keep a good margin in those portable life support systems.
Time now rapidly running out to the point where mission control will force them to return.
Okay, can you quickly stick this in my pocket, Neil, and I'll head on up the ladder. I'll hold it. You open the pocket up.
that, fella. Okay, just hold it right there. Okay, let the pocket go.
Stop close.
Got it.
Okay. Adios, amigos.
Hey,
Anything more before I head on up, Bruce?
Negative. Head on up the ladder, Buzz.
Head on up. Buzz.
Aldrin heading up the ladder now 19 minutes and 29 seconds late. Later than planned. Mission Control obviously very loath to let them go into any kind of possible marginal situation with their oxygen.
That white dot right above the horizon on the right is a phosphorus spot from the TV converter in the Park Station in Australia.
And there goes Aldrin back into the lunar module.
How you coming, Neil?
okay. You get the solar wind rolled up there?
Right, that's it right there. I think you can reach this hook that's hanging over here. You might entertain the idea of sending up the second one that way.
Okay.
Get the film off of that.
Oh, well. Better now.
Sounds as if they're now sending back up the camera magazines. The film camera magazines.
Okay, I'm heading on in.
Okay.
And I'll get the other.
These live pictures they've been sending have been remarkably good. If you missed them, we'll show them to you again, recorded later on. The voices you hear are those of Armstrong mainly, and Aldrin, who's now just gone back inside the lunar module.
How you doing, Buzz? I'm okay. Ready to send up the LEC?
Yeah, just about.
The samples are now obviously back in with the magazines, film magazines, and they're about to send back up the pulley rope or lanyard that they've been using to transfer the stuff back up from the lunar surface up through the door to Aldrin's hands back in the lunar module.
Okay, that's got it clear.
Transferring the sample containers into the limb cabin now.
Uh-oh. Camera came off. I mean, the film pack came off.
They're just almost off the picture on the right is Armstrong holding out tight the pulley system, the rope, transferring materials back up into the lunar module. Aldrin back in the lunar module now.
Okay, just ease it down now. Don't pull so hard on it. All right, let it go.
Oh, you're getting that. I've got to get this camera.
Okay, this one's in, no problem.
Okay, stand by a second.
Neil, this is Houston. Request an EMU check, over.
Asking for a check on his suit.
Roger, got 3.8. And I got 54 on the O2 and no flags. And my flow is in.
54% of his oxygen left. And that's without going into the 30 minutes emergency oxygen, which he has in a separate container on top of the backpack. Armstrong
The
still...
Lick Observatory in California reports a return on the laser experiment.
Laser experiment there being tested from Earth for the first time. It reflects back a laser beam from Earth. Armstrong still working there at the base of the
For
lunar
your
module.
information, your consumables remain in good shape.
Consumables,
Roger.
oxygen and power for heating and cooling.
That's coming, Neil.
Okay, I've got one side hooked up to the second box, and I got the fuel pack on.
Okay, good.
Armstrong still busy getting the boxes of rocks ready to transfer up to Aldrin.
By that silt from on the LEC is kind of falling all over me while I'm doing this.
Well, that's good, huh?
It looks like down here.
Yeah, I think my watch stopped, Neil.
Hit it.
No, it didn't either. Second hand.
Armstrong looks as if Armstrong is there with another box of rock samples.
Okay, if you could just kind of hold it, but I think I can do the pulling.
You can just see it there on the, just in his hand, and there it goes, moving up towards the lunar module behind the flag.
Stand by a minute, let me move back.
Okay, easy. All right, easy on the hatch now. Okay, I'll get it the rest of the way. Okay. And I'll give it to you to go away just a second. Have a little more.
Hours, 40 minutes on the PLSSs.
Two hours and 40 minutes of oxygen used from their backpacks. Aldrin's back in the lunar module, but he's still on his backpack because the hatch is open.
Okay, it's unhooked. How about that package out of your sleeve? Get that? No. Okay, I'll get it. I'll get up there.
Armstrong appearing there from the right again.
Run it now? That's all. Okay? Okay.
It looks as if he's climbing back up into the lunar module, or is just about to.
Neil, this is Houston. Did you get the Hasselblad magazine? This is Houston. Did you get the Hasselblad magazine?
Yes, I did. And we got about, I'd say 20 pounds of carefully selected, if not documented, samples.
Houston, roger. Well done. Out.
At the second box.
20 pounds of rock. And I think the mission aim was for
Unofficial time off the surface.
over 100
1:11, 37, 32.
Now start arching your back. That's good. Plenty of room.
Aldrin,
Right, arch your back a little, your head.
Aldrin guiding Armstrong back in, through the door.
Roll right just a little bit. Head down. And in good shape. Thank you. I bump it now. Now you're clear. You're rubbing up against me a little bit. Okay. Turn right. That's right. Turn to left. Okay. Now move your foot and I'll get the hatch. Okay.
Both of them back in the lunar module now. After a total of 2 hours, 43
Okay,
minutes,
hatch is closed and latched.
they'll now begin to repressurize. And for those of you who may have missed it, as far as I could hear,
And verified secure.
Armstrong's
Okay.
first words on the surface of the moon were, "It's one small step for
Now
man."
we board the feedwater valve.
Cliff is telling me that he heard then, "But a leap for mankind."
Surplus antenna suit.
It's one small step for man, but a leap for mankind.
Okay, feedwater valve closed. Get your antennas out. Okay. What am I bumping into? Okay. That's out. Oh, yeah. Snap there. Didn't I bite it?
The hatch is closed. Both men are inside, still in their pressure suits. Now they have to repressurize the
Houston,
cabin.
Go ahead. Your cutting out, Neil. You're not readable. I understand you said something about contingency sample container on the SN engine. We're not reading you, Neil. Buzz, buzz. This is Houston. Do you read over?
Trouble with communications back in the lunar module.
Tranquility Base, this is Houston. We're reading neither one of you, but standing by.
That view of the lunar module alone on the surface with the two men inside, and the American flag standing just slightly to the right.
We're coming up about 2.789 pounds. Up to 3 now. PSI now.
And at just after 6:15, for those of you who may have just joined us, just woken up, the two astronauts, Armstrong and Aldrin, are now back inside the lunar module after a stay on the surface of the moon lasting something over 2 hours and 3/4. There you see the television camera view as it stands about 60 feet away from the lunar module, looking straight towards it. The doorway on the right-hand side, the right strut going down, diagonally down to the surface, is the one with the ladder on it. Immediately in front of that, the American flag, which they planted and by which they stood as President Nixon congratulated them on a direct telephone call from the White House to the Sea of Tranquility on the moon. The lunar module now alone, the hatch is closed. They're back inside the lunar module, repressurizing the cabin, and then they'll get ready to take their suits off. And in not many minutes from now, we expect them to turn off the television camera. And when they do, for those of you who have only just joined us, we will replay these pictures from the beginning. The ascent stage of Eagle lifts off from Tranquility Base. And at this moment, they should be donning their helmets and gloves, putting them on, and getting the final go, no-go for their guidance systems that will take them up off the launch pad, the lower stage of the lunar module, and being prepared to start the camera, the film camera, that will bring us back a film recording of what happens at 6:54. Let's now listen to NASA and the conversation between control and the crew.
No, they are showing film. They are showing film of it. Yeah. I'll do the dishes. But it's only 2 minutes.
Coming up on 2 minutes. Mark, minus 2 minutes.
Patrick, guidance, steering in the ag.
The guidance system checked and ready. Just over 1 minute to go to the engine firing that will make or break the entire mission.
Okay, master arm on.
The final engine preparations there being made.
Guidance reports both navigation systems on Eagle are looking good.
Whiskey Mike.
And at 5 seconds before liftoff, they'll cut the connections between the two spacecraft.
That's it, answer code.
10, 9, 8,
9, 8,
6.
7, 6,
They're
5.
running late.
Port stage, engine arm ascent. Proceed.
Liftoff.
Shadow, beautiful. 26, 36 feet per second up. 5, little pitch over. Very smooth.
At 500 feet. At 650 feet. At 900 feet.
Very quiet ride. There's that one crater on there.
Feet high, 80 feet per second vertical rise.
Eagle Houston, request manual start override.
Roger.
2,600 feet altitude.
See it. Nope.
The point they're aiming for, 59,927 feet.
Eagle Houston, 1 minute, you're looking good.
Roger.
6 minutes to go to insertion in orbit.
130 feet vertical rise rate.
So a little bit of slow wallowing back and forth. Not very much thruster activity.
Roger, mighty fine.
Seven hundred, 150 up, beautiful. 9,000.
9,000 feet.
AX agrees within a foot per second.
Both systems checking the ascent are working together.
Eagle Houston, you're looking good at 2. Ping, zags, and missed in, all agree.
That's 1,000. 170 up, beautiful. 14,000. And a foot per second again, AX to ping.
5 minutes to go to orbit.
That band looks like it's holding good, Houston.
Roger, we concur. It's great.
Good.
1,500, 185.
Good communications.
Aldrin is reading the horizontal velocity first and then the vertical velocity. It's now 1,424 feet per second vertical velocity, 187 vertical velocity.
Eagle Houston, your go at 3 minutes. Everything's looking good.
Andrew? Straight on H-Stat.
4 minutes to go to orbit.
This is H-Stat max now.
Rising up to a speed of over 3,000 miles an hour when they get there.
Right down US-1.
Roger.
Height now approaching 32,000 feet.
Heading for 60,000 feet, the point at which they get into orbit.
Eagle Houston, 4 minutes. You're going right down the track. Everything's great.
Horizontal velocity approaching 2,500 feet per second.
Got Sabine off to our right now. Roger.
3 minutes to go to orbit.
Some 120 miles to go until insertion.
.240 to go.
Coming up to 5 minutes after takeoff.
Hey, there's Ritter off there. And there it is, right there. There's Schmidt. And that's impressive looking, isn't it? Eagle Houston, you're great. 3, looking good. 155.
All three data sources are agreeing quite closely here. The three-color plot board on the front of mission control here is almost superimposed as each of the three colors.
Minutes to orbital insertion.
Dionysus, I think that it's bumped to the right. Eagle Houston, you're still looking mighty fine. Patrick, good agreement in Delta V to go and both ag things. Roger.
One minute to orbit insertion.
One minute to go in the burn. 4,482 feet per second. Horizontal velocity.
800 to go. To go. Oh, dang it, open up the main shutoff. SNC closed, pressure's holding good, cross speed off.
20 seconds to go.
350 to go.
Ten, 9,
Stand by on the engine arm.
7, 6,
90, okay, off, 50,
3, 2,
cut down.
1. And they should be in orbit.
We got 53373, 32.8 feet per second, 60,666.
And they're in orbit.
Eagle, Roger, we copy. It's great. Go. And we got our residuals.
They're in orbit. They're now giving information about their fuel states at the end of that 7-minute and 18-second engine burn. Let's go over now immediately to Michael Charlton at Houston. Michael Charlton.
Well, that means that the unknowns are over, doesn't it? And from here on, the Americans have perfected this technique before. So they're over the hill is the feeling here, and they're on the way home, and that harvest that they've sown up there on the moon is something that we're going to be analyzing for all the days of all of our lives that are left to us.
Conversation from the crew as they inched closer. "127 hours, 59 minutes, and 56 seconds. Officially 2 seconds to go to docking. There has been no conversation, and I doubt that it will happen exactly on time, but they must be very, very close. let's just try and show you there a shot that I can see ready on the other monitor, a shot of something like the position of the two spacecraft at the moment, with the lunar module really very, very close in to the mother spacecraft. Nothing from mission control at this moment, a moment that mission control keeps out of. Its computer has virtually nothing to do with this maneuver. Armstrong there saying something.
Okay.
The last 10 seconds. Without this docking maneuver, there is no alternative rescue for the men in the upper stage of the lunar module. The docking is now over 1 minute late. And still no word from the crew. The docking maneuver is now over 2 minutes late. And still no word if there has been an emergency or any particular problems that prevent this docking. Still nothing on this NASA monitor here, the loudspeaker beside me. 2 minutes and 43 seconds late now. A lot of static problems with the communication. And still no word from Mission Control. Mission Control has asked nothing in the last 5 minutes.
Okay, we're on yours. Roger. Okay. Okay, I have thrusters B3 and C4 safety. Okay. I'm pumping up cabin pressure.
And they're docked. They're pumping up the cabin pressure. They are now docked. They've come together. And let's go immediately over to Michael Charlton, who is at Mission Control. And if I don't miss my guess, he will have the same news as I have, as I've interpreted from the news, that they have docked because there is a rise in the cabin pressure pumping up to equalize the two. Is that correct, Michael?
We're still waiting for official confirmation as you are, Jim, but that's what I heard Armstrong say too, and if that is the case, well, they are together. But we're still waiting for Mission Control, and I'm getting the same static down my line from Mission Control as you must be getting. These...
Let's just wait together and listen to the sound.
Yes. It seemed to happen at the time
time I put the plus express to it. It currently wasn't finished because somehow or other...
They must be docked. We have just heard a phrase. That was a funny one. I didn't even feel it touch. I don't think it can be much doubt, Michael Charlton in Houston, can there, that they have docked? Anything official yet? Michael Charlton in Houston, any official news yet?
No. Hello, Jim, were you calling then? I'm sorry.
Have you heard it? We've heard what sounds suspiciously like two spacecraft docked together. Have you heard anything official yet?
That's what we think we heard. We're still waiting for confirmation of it here, but...
It's taking mission control a tremendous time to make it official.
Here it comes now, I think.
They must be docked. They would call them Apollo 11 only when they're docked, surely.
Yep.
Affirmative. You want to go ahead and adjust your O2 flow until it just goes off the peg. And then crank the direct O2 valve back down about 5 degrees. Over.
I think you can tell from the elation in their voices that they've done it.
I think they're docked. I think they must be docked. Is there any, there is obviously no sense of elation, Michael, in Houston, if nothing official has been said yet, right?
Well, I think that we can take it that there is. I'm watching a simulated picture at the moment of the docked spacecraft, but I think you can take it from their voices that they have. That was quite a different tone of voice, I thought. My goodness, how tired these two must be, how tired the three must be. We mustn't forget the third man. Even the president forgot the third man in his speech to the astronauts on the moon last night, you remember. But now, back together again, and from here on, it's downhill for the Americans.
Roger, that's fine. That's what we expect.
And always that reassuring voice of the controllers from the ground who've mothered this great expedition all the way out, 250,000 miles, as they will shepherd it all the way back.
Michael, I think with that, we'll have to leave you there. Thank you very much indeed. I think with that call sign that we heard a few minutes ago, mission control to Apollo 11, that we must assume they have been docked, but this has certainly been the longest and the hairiest docking that we've heard so far. A docking that we still don't have officially confirmed. But the use of the code word Apollo 11 must indicate that they're docked. It's very strange that Mission Control hasn't bothered to tell the world that they've docked. And so, at the risk of sticking my neck out, the successful completion, and if I'm proved wrong, well, I'm proved wrong, the successful completion of the moon landing section of this mission, with still one burn to go, the engine burn to bring them back to Earth. And that, Kenneth Alsop, as far as we're concerned on our guess, is the news at the moment.